for us, it would seem as if though that's a normal course of doing business in terms of trying to alleviate the tension between both parties. But it's more of a heavy-handed approach where when you go in there with the riot squad, people will get hurt. Things will escalate out of control and what have you. And so it kind of struck me as ironic, and I use that term very loosely because what I'm used to was not necessarily what played out yesterday. That's why I'm saying it kind of came off as ironic in that respect.
I know that the media would have been ecstatic to see that we would have had a confrontation. That's the news to know, right? It's like giving you a math problem. You know the answer to the problem already, but there are several ways to get to the answer. Yeah. You either use the most difficult way or use the easier way, right? And as law enforcement, we must always try to find the easier way or the most reasonable way to do things without affecting people, without causing unnecessary harm or injury to people. And that has been my policy. Yeah. During my time as commissioner, I have not seen any standoff where people get hurt or whatever, because I always try as best as I can to employ diplomacy and see how we can speak to people to decrease tension as opposed to increase tension. If you go on the grounds, you would see that we don't even have police officers with baton, right? Because again, that will show signs of force, and that will agitate people, right? And if you walk around the crowd and you see how the police and the aggrieved parties interact, it's extremely good.
Yeah.
And when you have that relationship with people, it helps to decrease tension because that mutual respect is there.
Yeah.
You know?
So, Commissioner, we now know that your soft approach, as you call it, yesterday proved successful in removing the blockade on the Philip Golson Highway. I think the obvious question that everyone else is asking is, are we expecting anything else to continue today?
Well, we know for sure that the matter is not yet resolved.
Yes.
The Prime Minister is in negotiation with ASR, BSI. Yesterday, 2 proposals were thrown out. The main one being where they're asking that ASR, BSI extend the proposal, the agreement from last year for another year. We're hoping that that is going to bear fruit today. The response from ASR, BSI, as I understand, is supposed to be obtained sometime today. Now, we're not going to say, like Mr. Mai said yesterday to the media, we don't know what that response is going to be, if it is going to be favorable to the cane farmers or not.
Yeah.
But we do expect a response from them. If that response is favorable, then I believe this comes to an end.
Yeah.
If it is not favorable, then we anticipate that the problem is going to persist. As law enforcement, we are prepared to police the event, continue as best as we can to exercise restraint, understanding the plight of people, and ensure that law and order is maintained. If the cane farmers wish to apply for a permit to demonstrate, we are going to give them the permit to demonstrate, so long as the demonstrations are done in a peaceful manner. That is all we ask for. And once that is the case, then we don't have an issue. But we all hope that in the midst of whatever, cooler heads must always prevail. Because at the end of the day, no one is going to benefit by people getting hurt or killed or whatever. We can achieve our goals, we can achieve our objectives without harming people, and that's what we must always strive to do.
If we can go now to discussing the past 12 months that were 2023 and the efforts of the Belize Police Department to try as best as possible to have contained violent crimes primarily. We ended off the year with perhaps in the vicinity of 90 homicides on record, correct? Somewhere thereabout?
85.
85, okay. But try as you may, and I know that as record-breaking as the final figures were for 2023, we saw what appeared to be an uptick in violent crimes towards the end of the year. Let's reflect on the efforts of the department in terms of doing its best to keep things under a certain control.
Yes, 2023 certainly was a challenging year. You know, every year has its own challenges. But again, the police department, in working in conjunction with other organizations, through the all of government approach, was able to contain as best as we can the occurrence of violent crimes. It is not easy. As much as I would like to celebrate, because since I became commissioner, this has always been my goal, to see the murder count dip below 100. And it had caused me many sleepless nights, trying to figure out what next can I do, how best can I do this, or whatever. What strategy can I employ to try and possibly impact the murder rate. And for the first time, it happened. We came close in 2020 when we had 103. That era actually believed that we were going to achieve it, but just like this year, at the end, we had a spike. And that took us over the 100 digit. And then in last year, we had 113, which again was still reasonably close compared to previous years where we were in the 130s, 140s, right? So we have seen a tremendous dip. But again, policing is very complex, especially in in the era we're living in, because criminals have become more sophisticated in how they do their business. While they became more sophisticated, the police department also need to adjust to be able to overcome the sophistication of how the criminals operate. And again, creative means or creative measures is important. And as much as people may sit and say, we talk to criminals too much, we're too soft with criminals, or we're this or we're that, the objective must always be to achieve peace. If you have your household and you know that two of your children are at odds with each other, constantly fighting, what do? Do you leave them to fight every day until one eventually harms the other? Or you step in and intervene and try to diffuse the tension between them? I believe the latter is what we must do. It's the same way we operated with the street figures. Many a times we got information that tensions are high between different groups. We don't leave them to play out that tension. We bring them to the table, we find out what the issues are, and we help them to work it through.
Yeah.
That, for me, was extremely pivotal in the results we got this year. Because as opposed to in the past where we know of the tension, just ignored, and then things happen, then we become reactive. We need to be more proactive in our approach to fighting crime and be more creative. The next thing that, again, was very important, we have the Ministry of Education piloting the free education campaign on Southside Belize City. That saw the enrollment of a number of young persons in schools who were not able to go to school before due to financial constraints. And you know, in the past, when you go to the schools, you would see that there was a significant higher percentage of female enrollment in the high schools and even at the sixth form level. But now we're seeing a tremendous improvement in the enrollment of young male person, and that is important, right? Instead of the young male person now being on the street, engaged in gang activity or being recruited by gang members, they're now in school. Yes, that brought a total new dynamics to the school settings because these are children from rivaling groups.
Yeah.
And at times the rivalry plays out at the school. So we're finding ways to see how we can go around that. by increasing the police presence at schools, and the police going into to teach the peace program, which was the Family Great program. Again, just try as best as we can to let the children understand that there is a better way of life than living that gangster lifestyle. And it is working. We have the LIU, again, under the leadership of Ms. Dominique Morales, that is also out there engaging in the work program where the young persons are employed in respective communities to do cleanup or other stuff. That again is helping to some extent because they now get an income that they works for, as opposed to when they're saying they cannot provide for their family, have to go and rob and do this or whatever. They now have an income that they are benefiting from that helps. So the whole approach that we have employed through the all of government is very important, along with the hard work and dedication of the police officers who patrols the street every day, because their presence and what they do also play a tremendous role in ensuring that we are able to contain the crime situation in respective areas where they patrol.
Allow me to ask this question then. There have been criticisms brought against the Leadership Intervention Unit for the very same thing that you just mentioned, that you have these young men who are, well, seemingly legitimately enrolled as part of the program and are receiving payments for their involvement in work and what have you. But others from the outside would look at that and say, well, it's no different, for instance, than what the previous administration had done, where they were paying these young men to essentially keep the peace. And that's coming out of the public purse. Whereas you do have other persons who are legitimately looking for work who don't fall in that category of at risk or exposed, if I could use that description, who can't get a job.
I had said this before and I say it again. The former Prime Minister, Mr. Barrow, really and truly had a passion to try and address the crime issue. But he never had the minister who was able to push that agenda. If the Prime Minister is providing resources for the youths to be employed gainfully in their respective areas, it is then the duty of the minister and any other group that the minister may put in place to ensure that there is value for money. In 2012, when that was tried, there was no structure in place to have ensured that, you know, those persons were actually working. So what eventually happened was that they were just being given the money to do nothing. In this instance, we have a minister in the person of Mr. Karim Musa, who is committed. He is a part of LIU strategic managers, and we meet and we discuss how we're going to address the issue. We have an on-the-ground team led by Ms. Morales from LIU, and then we also have the behavior modification that does the supervision on the ground, so make sure that work is being done and we get value for money. So it is not like in 2012 where you can say that they are being paid to do nothing. If it is that they do nothing, they don't get paid. And again, you must have structure. In 2012, when they tried the program, there was no repercussion for those persons who were still engaged in crime while being employed by the organization. So what happens then? No one is held accountable. So we had people who were workers at day and shooters at night. And that was what gave rise to the highest murder count this country have ever seen, right, in 2012. This time again, we have a structure. We have a disciplinary structure in place. If you are a member of LIU and you go and commit a crime, you are suspended. You're not a member of LIU, you're suspended for a number of weeks or months until you can show again that, you know what, you have put that behind you, you are trying your best to change, then you are brought back into the program. And again, that is important. You find now that the young men, they try as best as they can to walk that straight line, because they know that if they deviate and do something against what we're trying to achieve, what the consequence is going to be.
There
Okay,
will
let
be
me ask another
consequences.
question here then. So, the involvement of the young men in LIU does not provide them with a sort of safety net that shields them from their past, or in some cases, their ongoing involvement in criminality and gang activity. I look at a recent story that we ran the other day with the young man, Mr. Lozano. Everybody was quick to say, but he worked with LIU, but his fate caught up with him in the most violent of manners. He was gunned down on his way home on Friday. How do you look at a situation like that where you're actively engaged with these young men to try to steer them along the straight and narrow, but there are certain things that become inevitable?
The thing with Mr. Lozano, I wish sometime Mr. Romero was more forthcoming. But that is the person he is. We know that the murder of Mr. Lozano is not gang related.
Okay.
It is drug related. Right? That's the bottom line. I saw the question was asked of Romero yesterday, and he was a bit hesitant to answer the question. You know, tell the people, man. It takes nothing away from us to let the public know what the motive of a particular murder is. Right? When it comes to the whole issue of gangs, a part of the structure of LIU is to provide counseling, mediation, intervention. Even when we have the Peace Cup, and which was the William Dawson Sprite Peace Cup, and now we have the William Dawson football tournament. One of the major components of that is that we have persons from human development that comes in, and before games or after games, they have a session with them. The session is about life skill, right? Teaching them life skill and counseling. And that is mandatory. So it is not just to have a program with these young men and there is nothing done to counsel them, to try and change the lifestyle. We do that a lot. We also have sessions done by myself, Brother Nuri, Futegong, River Sticks, sometimes Giovanni and Madam Chair Lady Dominique Morales will join us when we bring in the groups and we have sessions with them. We also have situations where the members of the behavior modification led by ESP O'Brien goes into each of the communities and counsel these young men on a daily basis. We also have the conflict officers in the or the violent interrupters in different areas of the city that deals with these young men, mentoring them and these sort of things. So there's a lot that we're doing to try as best as we can to change their mindset. It is not going to happen overnight. We don't expect it is going to happen overnight. But certainly it is paying dividend. We're seeing the results. We just have to ensure we stay more at it. We cannot give up. If we give up, then we basically surrender. We lose.
So
that is not what we should do, no.
So we had the opportunity to reflect on some of the strategies that the Belize Police Department implemented last year that obviously resulted in record numbers of low violent crimes here in the country. Now with that record, what do you anticipate or what are the plans that you have for this year in ensuring that we either beat those records or not exceed them?
Before I answer that question, I want to say something that my good friend Jules Vasquez told me. Over the holiday, the New Year's, him and I were texting back and forth. And we were discussing the numbers. And he said to me, he said, Kompol, it is unfair to judge the murder count based on figures, based on the numbers. It should be done based on the per capita figure, because that is how murders are judged worldwide. It's a per capita figure. So, and he alluded to the fact that when we look at 2005, where I think we had 71 murders, our country population in 2005 was around 350,000 people.
Considerably smaller.
Considerably smaller, as opposed to now where we have around 450,000 people, right? The fact that you have increased population certainly has the potential for an increase in crime. And then the per capita also changes. So when we look at the 85 figure, we have a 23% decrease. And for the first time in this century, we have a murder per capita of less than 20. It's at 19.1 per capita, which is extremely good, and it's the first time for the century that we have that. And I thank my friend Jules for that. He's always bashing me, but he gave me good advice where that is concerned, and I must give him credit for that. So again, it is something worth celebrating because from 2006, we have been above 20. Around 2010, we went above 30 per capita, right? And now we are back to 19, which is good. So now to answer your question, the important thing for us is to ensure that we look at lessons learned. Certainly there are things that we did last year that we could have done better. And there are also things that we did last year that we need not do again. We must ensure that we improve in the areas that we did well, try as best as we can to look at new initiatives that we can employ. The minister have always been harping of the whole issue of the use of innovation and technology to fight crime. That again is extremely important to us. In the era where we're seeing that the human element to fight crime is absent. And I don't mean from the police standpoint, I mean from a witness standpoint. Witnesses don't want to come forward. So where witnesses don't want to come forward, if we don't have some other mechanism in place to be able to fight crime or hold perpetrators accountable, then crime goes unpunished. And if it goes unpunished, then you know what happens. It is going to happen more and more.
Yeah.
Where there is a certainty of punishment, that also serves as a deterrent. And so you will see that we have installed a number of surveillance cameras in key areas of Belize City. That also has played a great role in our success. We were able to detect many of the murders. More murderers or accused murderers are being charged due to those cameras. We have the AFIS system with deal with fingerprint. That is also working. We're using the Celebrite machine that we extract information from electronic devices. Those are working. That all falls in the sphere of innovation and technology to fight crime.
Yeah.
But while we also focuses on that, we must ensure we reach a stage where we are more proactive as opposed to reactive to crime. Those things I spoke about earlier are more from a reactive standpoint. When it comes to the proactive nature, we have to ensure we continue the interventions between the different parties. We have to ensure that we continue to collaborate with other stakeholders, because the issue of fighting crime is not a police issue, it's a social issue. So getting the social partners involved with us is very important. Yes, I'll admit that we have transformed from a more conventional style of policing to a more social style of policing. But that is not unique to just Belize. It is a phenomenon across the world where police organizations are becoming more social, because we understand that there are certain things that if we don't do, it gives us more work. And if we do it, it reduces the amount of response we have to crime. Our mission as a police department must always be to prevent crime and not just to investigate. Yes, investigating is important, but if we don't have to reach a stage of investigating, then that is always best for us. So we're going to continue to employ the things that we have done. We're looking at the whole concept of road policing, because what many people don't discuss this year is the issue of traffic fatalities on our highways.
Yeah.
That was extremely terrible in 2023.
Most in the latter part of the year.
Exactly. We saw some very serious accidents, a triple, a quadruple fatalities. And so looking at our road policing strategy to be able to stem the issue of drunk driving, speeding on the highways, drug trafficking, firearm trafficking, human smuggling, human trafficking, transnational organized crime, these are things that we must tackle more this year. So I have said to my commanders, and we're having all officers conference on Friday, providing that the North goes well. And as a part of that conference, I'm going to outline to my commanders the new strategy for 2024, because we want to make sure that we have a better strategy going forward so we can maintain the numbers we had this year or reduce it.
Well, Commissioner, I'll use this opportunity to ask if you have any last words as it relates to what we can expect from you and your team and just your leadership.
Well, again, we are going to continue to respect the rights of our citizens. Yes, police officers will be police officers at time. We're human beings. We're not created in heaven and dropped on earth. So we are
we're dragged
not
up from the dirt place.
We're not immune. We're not immune to the ills of society, right?
Yeah.
And so there are going to be occasions where police officers will step out of line. But again, importantly, is for us to ensure that we address these issues. And as much as we look at the crime or the criminal outlook and saw that there was a tremendous decrease in major crimes, or not major crime in a whole, but violent crimes, this was achieved on the backdrop of an era where we saw the least amount of complaint against the police, right?
That's true.
The whole issue of police brutality, that too decreased tremendously in 2023. So we're achieving better results with the use of less force. And that, for me, is very important. My final words going into 2024 is, again, to appeal to the Belizean people. People don't understand what we go through. The job of a police is extremely, extremely rough, right? It takes a special breed of people to be police. Isani wanted to be police when he was young, but when he saw the difficulty, he changed and he came to the media. That was more easier for him, right?
Yes.
You know? But the men and women of the department really and truly worked extremely hard this year. And as the captain of the ship, I run a tight ship. I am extremely strict, and sometimes I think my commanders think I'm too harsh with them. But when you want to achieve results, you have to be tough. And I've always said to them, it doesn't matter how tough I become with you, I always want to see the best from you. I'm not being tough because I don't like you or whatever. I'm being tough because I want you to bring out the best in you. And more and more they're getting to understand my style. And we're working very, very good together. I want to say again to the public, the effort, the support that you gave us, again, was very important. Every week you welcome us into your homes as we do meet and greets or different community policing projects. You always supported the police, and we are grateful for that, and we ask for your continued support in 2024. A big thank you to my minister, Mr. Musa. He has always been there, very much hands-on, giving guidance when we need guidance, lobbying cabinet for resources that we need to be able to do our job. Without his support and the Prime Minister's support, we certainly would not have been able to achieve what we achieved this year. So again, we're going to continue to do our best to make Belize a safer place for all who lives and visit this country.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Commissioner. We appreciate your presence, and we look forward to having you back on the couch in April.
In April, yes.
In April. Alrighty, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, the conversation switches into students and their take on real-life issues happening in Belize. Stay with us.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere. satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
Belize's location is responsible for the amazing biodiversity that we find here, including quite a few endemic species that are found nowhere else in the world.
In fact, 60% of our country still remains forested. It's part of our history, it's part of our heritage, it's part of our culture.
Business has to be a long-term thing, and it has to feed into the environment. We truly believe that without a strong country, you can never have a strong company.
This is going to be a good night for croc catchers.
Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
Welcome back. We are having our second conversation for the morning. And it's all about students from EPR giving their take on real-life issues happening here in Belize. We are joined by Rihanna Waters in the middle. She is a student of EPR, as I mentioned, and she's here to talk specifically about domestic violence. To her right, to her left, that is Edgar Seguro, and he is a student as well, talking about price gouging. And we also have with us teacher and counselor of EPR High School, Samson Jacobs. Good morning, guys. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for inviting us.
Yes. All right. Let's jump straight into this conversation because I think it's perfect that we are having young people speaking on issues taking place in Belize. Before we even get into some of the topics that we will be discussing, let's talk about why the school felt it important for these students to engage in these conversations.
So, good morning again. I want to do a backdrop first, right? So the topic is on the role of the government, and the teacher who gave the assignment is Mr. Shira Bowen, and she teaches principles of business to, I think, all fourth form, right?
Okay.
So the students are tasked to either come live on a show or call in on a talk show and express their issue. So in my hand I have the grading criteria, so they will be grading on their mannerism and professionalism, the issue or the problem, and they must come up with solutions and recommendations to address the problem to the authorities or to the government.
All right.
And then, and of course we'll look at things like their fluency and punctuality, whatever. So this is aligned with the new curriculum, which is competency based, and it's more of them doing. So we want to give them that hands-on experience.
This is so interesting. So basically, this is a test. So we are the persons that will be asking them the questions.
Yes. Because
I love that.
The setup is that if they call in, they should have given a speech. But because it's live show, it's more interactive discussion.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, let's jump straight into it. We already talked about who you guys were and what you will be talking about. Let's talk, Rihanna, about domestic violence and your understanding of what is taking place in Belize right now.
Okay, so actually my topic was changed to security and welfare of citizens.
Okay.
And basically what that is where the government is, responsible for providing support and providing, a good environment for all its citizens. And talking about, poverty and things like that, raises implementation for social welfare programs, I believe, which we lack in Belize. Because as the government should be responsible for providing support such as, housing assistance, financial benefits and things like that. But how many people don't we see on the streets of Belize without, home, food, somewhere to just lay their heads at night? So I believe that in our country, we should, start to implementing these things which should be implemented by law. And some people don't realize the importance of these social welfare programs, as these could help, alleviate poverty, for example, promote social justice, which is, ensuring that everyone has the same access to services or opportunities regardless of their socio-economic background. And this issue is something that I realize we don't really look at as an issue, but it is the negative impacts is seen all around us, like crime, which is something that is an uprise in Belize, and also human rights violation. So I believe that by implementing these things, because for me, if I look at it, if I need food or shelter or something like that, that then might make me want to maybe thief or something like that, because if it is a basic necessity and my government isn't providing it for me, then I have no one else to reach out to.
Yeah.
So there's when people look somewhere else for stuff like that. So I believe that is something that the government should be implementing and should be looking at as something that is that would very much benefit us and future generations.
So I've listened intently to everything you've said. And for the most part, I do agree with what you've shared. But what about the you factor? where do you, the individual, fit into all of this? So you've used the example of when I wake up and I'm hungry and there's no food to eat or what have you.
Okay,
You can't place those very basic needs solely at the feet of the government. You have to look at where you fit into the entire equation. What do I do for myself? What do I do to help me get out of a certain situation? And then you start look at how government and other entities can assist in getting you out of it.
So what I would say, you know, if most people might not know that the help is out there, because I think that in Belize, most of it is solely based on, you know, politics, and you know, if your party isn't in place, then you might not get the assistance that you know you should be deserving of as a citizen of Belize. So I believe that if the government just, you know, maybe provide workshops or stuff like that, or just, you know, make it aware to the general public that there are help in place if you show that you want the help. Because yes, you have to be the one to show the initiative that you want the help before you can receive the help from the government itself. So I do believe that you have to want the help, but also they could provide, you know, and make it well known for the general public as well.
Yeah.
I think before we go over to the other student, Edgar, I think this is just my observation as someone who has grown up in the Belizean society, and I've learned to appreciate and love it for what it is. It's not without its challenges, right? Part of the challenge is that for far too long, we've depended on government to do everything, right? And for some of you, as you've mentioned, those who may be politically affiliated or aligned, they get to eat when their party is in power. But what happens to those who do not necessarily depend on the government to be there for them? We have to drive our own initiatives. We have to be the ones to come up with our own jobs if we're entrepreneurs or business driven. We have to be able to fall into certain systems if we work in the private sector, if we want a certain quality of education that may not necessarily come from public schools, and so on and so forth. The point that I'm making is very simple, right? Our society, as far as I see it, is comprised of persons who are dependent upon government and all its structures and systems, and nothing is wrong with that. But there should also be that part that says, what do I do for me and what do I do for my country, without necessarily having to lean solely on government assistance. I think that is what drives us forward, right? When you have people who are independent-minded, who don't solely rely on, okay, well, what will this party do for me once it's voted in? What about, okay, well, this is what I'm doing for my country, this is what I'm doing for my family, this is what I'm doing for myself. I think it drives us a farther way than if we just say, well, all right, well, what PUP or what UDP I do for me, or so on and so forth, right? I just wanted to share that with you because I do understand everything that you're saying, and it's perfectly right. But also there's another perspective to everything, right? I want to switch over to Edgar now, because I know the price gouging issue is the hot topic issue as well, right?
We're all talking about that.
So price gouging, I know that it's a very rampant topic that everybody talks about, and in the area that I live, which is the Lake Independence area, you know, it's not like the highest of class of people that live in that area, and there are a lot of struggles there, and price gouging is definitely one of them. I personally can say that when I go to the store, sometimes I would see customers, they would have to put back items because they can't afford it. I myself look at prices at different stores. I would go like to the market with my mom. For example, you would get a bag of cilantro, but when you go to another store, you will get that same bag of cilantro for $1, but the amount that you got in the first bag is like only the half of the amount. And other necessities like the price of rice, it ranges from different stores, and sometimes I look at it and it gets confusing because you really want to know what is the honest what is the honest price for this item? Like, is this item really worth what they're doing? And I feel like the government, I know that they have a supply cost act that they have put in place about 4 months ago, because I'm an avid watcher, like the viewer of the news. So because I like to be informed about what's happening in my country and like ways because I feel like in the future, like I want to do something to better people in Belize. So in that way, I observed that they have put in place laws like ticketing and like conducting basic like routines to go through stores, but I don't feel like the frequency of it is enough. And I feel like the board that is responsible for the price setting in Belize, I feel like it should be standardized throughout the whole country, that you should have one set price that everybody can agree on, and to like set a boundary like when price gouging, like when you can actually realize that something is wrong. I am educated about the importing costs and all of that, but sometimes you really have to think about it because there is a difference between the importing costs and the illegality of the people that run the stores that are raising their price. For example, in San Ignacio, I heard a story of a man that he went and he bought a sack of dog chow for $68 in November, and he went back to purchase it in December and it was $115, and he kept the receipts. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing was done about it. So I feel like there should be more insight into this matter.
What was your understanding of what led to price gouging in the first place? And I love that you mentioned where persons, consumers, can also collect their receipts to hold these businesses accountable. Let's talk about your understanding of what led to price gouging and further elaborate on what you think solutions can come from the common folk, ourselves, the consumers.
Okay, so what I learned about how price gouging started is that I feel like, and like when a store or a company feels like something is coming in demand, they would want to raise the price because they know that more people will want the product. For example, before Hurricane Lisa, there were alleged reports that stores were raising like their canned goods, their flour, and different things that that the Belizeans use to make their immediate food and their shelter items. So like I feel like that is how it started, because and the way that things are going, people want to make a profit, and they look for ways that, well, in the case of price gouging, it's illegal to make their profit. So yeah, I feel like that's the reason why. Is sometimes because of demand, the scarcity of a product. They know that a product is scarce and they will raise the price because, well, if it's running out, they might as well make the most of it with the money.
So you and I come from the same community, right? We're both from Lake High. So at some point, I presume that you would have bought items from stores on Mahogany Street, for instance,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir, I have.
So if you realized over the past couple of weeks, we've published a list of stores that have been ticketed for violating the price gouging regime. You would be surprised to know that a number of them are on Mahogany Street.
Yes, sir. I know.
Quite a number of
I was
stores on
surprised.
Mahogany Street have been guilty of jacking up the prices, so to speak.
Because I buy items, my family buy items from all of those stores. So that when I saw it, that is what sparked it inside me that this is really an issue, because we buy at the stores, those same stores every day, and we pay for the items, and like all that while we thought that was the actual price for the items, but then it makes you think that we are really paying more than we should.
Yeah. What's happening is the effect of inflation on our economy is not something that Belize has brought upon itself. It's a global thing. What has happened is that you have some business owners who have taken advantage of it, so that while the natural cost of importing goods and services into the country have gone up, when people start putting on more on it than what it actually needs to be, to me, a classic example of it is dog chow. You used it in San Ignacio, for instance. With that one person who bought a sack on 1 week and the following week in another month, it almost doubled. When you look at the cost increase in dog chow over the past 12 months, if you look at it from that point of view, you look at where pedigree was over a year ago to where it is now, it's almost unaffordable, right? It has almost doubled, if not already doubled what it was a year ago. And so what people end up doing is they start retailing it. But even at the retail level, it still costs more. It still costs more, right? It's just that you would be able to easier afford a pound of dog chow than you would be able to afford the sack at $100 but they're still getting away with this exorbitant difference in what the cost should be, right? And it applies across the board for a number of items. It's not just dogs. So I just use that one as an example because we can all relate to feed with dogs, right? But that same issue of price gouging, the government has put in place a task force to try to regulate. But when you look at the human resources that are assigned to a task such as this, where you have to cover the country from north to south, east, west, the keys, everything, it's difficult for you to man and for you to be able to be on top of every store owner in every municipality, in every village, in every community. That's a tough job.
Yeah.
That's a tough job. But I like your outlook. I know it's driven by your experiences, as you've mentioned, seeing it firsthand on Mahogany Street, for instance.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
I want to ask both of you your interest in these real life issues taking place in Belize before this assignment. As your teacher mentioned, Mr. Jacobs, this is a part of the school's way of really taking advantage of the new curriculum. But I want to ask you students, do you have a deeper understanding of the issues now that is taking place in Belize? Was this something that you were interested in before?
For me, yes, I was always interested in like the ways like on how the country works, like the different departments, the different ministries, and how they act to like keep the country in a way that people can be free in, that people can be comfortable in living in. So this assignment, I found it very interesting, and I will continue to like be updated and keep myself in the mix, because that is the only way that you will make progress if you know what you're into and you know what is happening.
And you, Rihanna?
Well, for me, I wasn't someone that was very interested in, finding out things about the government. But I found it very interesting as well that Ms. Bowen had implemented that we do this assignment. When we heard about it, it was very shocking, like it was something new for us to do. But I found that it was very useful, as it allowed us to dive deeper into the different things that is happening in our country that is affecting us, that we might not know about, but is affecting us in some type of way or form. So I find that from now on, as we further look on things, we could, okay, this is what we know from what happened, and we could try to put a step forward to better our country or better ourselves, and helping the government provide a better and safer environment and a safer space for all of us to live comfortably.
I think this is such an excellent activity, Mr. Jacobs, that the UP York has attempted to include young students in solving some of these issues, or at least thinking of how it affects them individually and suggesting solutions as well. Is this something that we can expect even more activities from EPR?
Yes, because I think Ms. Bowen enshrined it in her course outline that at fourth form level, the students must engage in this activity. So what we do a lot of cross-curricular. I remember on the phone I asked her, so why me to come on the show? And she said, well, because you're the guidance counselor and this is a part of guidance, no? One of the things, because I teach them life skills too, I normally start my class with students discussing social issues. And I'm one of the old school educators, so I look at what issues present itself on the news, and they must discuss it in class. So either the beginning or the end, but we must touch on a social issue.
What's also excellent though is that this activity gives them an opportunity to also be a part of public speaking in a way that they wouldn't normally. Being on live TV, I imagine, has its own nerve-wracking elements to it.
That is what I wanted to mention too, that an activity like this, it helps them with self-esteem, communication skills, and that type of thing. So,
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you pass. I personally would give you guys an A each, yeah? And good luck. We can't wait to have you guys back here, maybe being one of the leaders making these decisions to solve each of these issues that you both discussed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, we are going to take another break, and when we come back, the conversation switches into transformative living this new year with a yoga session. Stay with us.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when He cometh, shall find watching." As a skipper of a ship approached the shore, he looked through his binoculars and said to his fellow shipmates, "John, I see you're Mary. Tom, I see you're Alice." One sailor asked, "Do you see my wife?" The skipper replied, he did not see her. The ship docked, but his wife was not there to meet him. With a heavy heart, the sailor walked home alone that evening from the ship. As he opened the door, his wife greeted him, saying, "I'm glad you're home. I was waiting for you." He replied, "Oh, but the other wives were watching as well as waiting." What about you? Are you waiting, or are you waiting and watching? Do you live in a state of expectancy? Come to Christ and then live each day in a spirit of expectation, so that when Jesus Christ does return, you will be ready to welcome Him back. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Yes, I give up 50 times ending, now me have to pay.
Where you going, bruh? The who they stress you out again, Namule?
Boy, I don't want to believe at the fool again.
Again?
But I mess up this time for real, for real. You really want to know?
Yes. I want here.
Can't make it a big deal.
We
Sean,
know what
I know how you going now.
Oh, man.
You really want to know?
Yeah?
Take my plan, and I give her. I take my plan and put it in a name.
In a name?
Wait, so tell me something. You still pay for this plan?
Yeah. But hear this.
This plan, I can't left this plan. Smart believes. This plan, I can't left this plan, yeah. This plan, I can't left this plan. Postpaid plan. This plan, I can't left this plan. With Smart believes, it's unlimited data. Smart choice plan can light up your day. Postpaid with eSIM, make everything better. Just visit Smart showrooms today. Boom! I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. Can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. Affordable for everyone. I can't left this plan. The postpaid plan, cause the data really strong. You know why? Listen, for the best post and prepaid. You know that Smart got you back.
My bad. Wrong commercial.
She could left me for another man. The truth, once I have my plan, once I have my Smart Plus plan, I no worry cause the data strong. I know when you bleed, that's all I need. And you could tell me where you are, but I never left this plan. Smart have the best services. We post your plan have everything, so you could talk and text unlimited. Come set up your group, we got share plan 1 and 2. Up to 10 friends can connect anywhere. Boom! I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan. The postpaid plan, cause the data really strong. Don't dig it down, don't dig it down, don't dig it down. Smart release. Don't dig it down, 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 don't dig it. Smart, bringing people together.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
We stopped by the yoga studio over at Om Shanti to learn about how we can engage in a transformative new year. This morning, you'll be able to see what my experience was like in my first yoga session. So we'll be providing that feature now.
Yoga Wellness Center and School, which is located within Harborview Boutique Hotel and Wellness Retreat. And we're all about everything wellness, everything self-care, everything to provide you with tools to maneuver life more elegantly, coping mechanisms, things to release stress, release toxins, and all the things in the body that manifest through stress, right? And so we have a yoga center and we provide yoga classes, breathwork classes, meditation classes. We do workshops on face yoga and laughing yoga and how to access deep sleep. Om Shanti means universal peace. So Om, like I said in the class today, means the sound of the vibration of the universe. And many believe that it's actually the sound when the universe was created, Om, but it's also that universal primordial sound that resonates from the universe, that resonates from Earth, that connects us with everything. It's that union. And then Shanti means peace. And so when I came up with the name, it was easy. That came like very fast, you know, universal peace starting in Belize. Welcome everyone to this stretch, breathe, release, restore class to transform you, prepare you for 2024. Come seated, elevated from the floor on a blanket or cushion. Ground yourself through your sit bones, lengthen through the spine, reaching through the crown of the head with your chin slightly tucked in. Hands on your knees, shoulders are relaxed. And if you haven't already done so, allow your eyelids to softly close. And begin to breathe naturally, that natural flow of breath from the nostrils. As you inhale, consciously send the breath into the belly, expanding the belly like a small balloon. And as you exhale, slowly allow the belly button to move towards the spine, allowing the breath to rise and leave the body. I invite you now to begin an intimate journey with the breath, to acknowledge the magnificence and the miracle that is the breath. As you inhale, follow the breath down the spine, visualizing it, purifying the blood, revitalizing the cells, expanding and cleansing the lungs. As it expands the belly, slowly allow the exhale to occur as the belly button is drawn back into the spine and the breath rises and leaves the body, taking all that doesn't serve you. Inhale deep now. And on the exhale, gently press your palms together right between the rib cage at Anahata, the energetic center of the heart. And with your eyes closed, awareness inwards, naturally allowing the breath to flow. I invite you to acknowledge one small thing about your day that filled your heart with gratitude. And now I invite you to place an intention for the new year, an intention rooted in purity and sincerity, an intention to evolve, transform, and transcend all negative patterns and behaviors. And now let that intention go with that inner knowing that you are always fully supported and guided, even in the most challenging times. If you feel charmed, you can join me by chanting Om to open up the practice, reminding you that Om is the sound of the vibration of the universe. Some say it's the sound of the creation of the universe, that almighty Om, that unifying sound, the root of all languages. 1, 2, 3. Inhale. We'll begin our practice this morning with alternate nostril breath, balancing the left and the right side of the brain, clearing the nostrils so that we can breathe better, balancing the energies. Bring your right hand and place the right thumb on your right nostril. Place your middle and index finger between the eyebrows and let the ring finger hover over the left nostril. We'll inhale now through the left, going all the way. Close both nostrils. Release the thumb. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close both nostrils. Release the ring finger. Exhale through the left. That's one round. Again, inhale through the left. Close both nostrils, release the thumb, exhale through the right. We also have a spa which offers sauna and ice bath. And the sauna and ice bath, I mean, the benefits are many. For athletes, it's a very trending thing right now to do the sauna, which is, it releases toxins, and then you do the ice bath, which releases dopamine. So you get that feeling of complete relaxation, complete contentment. So physically, it detoxifies the body, it releases stress, and mentally, it creates a sense of well-being. And as well as healthy eating, fresh food. And that's where Martha's Cafe comes into play, where people can come and have delicious food and realize that vegetarianism or veganism doesn't have to be just grass. We now have fish. We serve fish, and we also have some Belizean cuisine, but it's fresh, and that's what makes the difference. In yoga, the sister science to yoga is Ayurveda, and they practice eating close to home. So anything processed will give you illness. So we try to, we do our food is fresh and healthy and nutritious and made with love. So that aspect is also there. And then we have our labyrinth, you know, which is a wonderful way in which to ground. We encourage our guests to come and ground, take off your shoes and walk on the grass. When you do that, you release free radicals, you release toxins from the body, and you're able to meditate, walking meditation. So we find that my mom does this every morning at 4, and you find that there are guests waiting for her to finish to go on and to do it. So morning meditation also is a time of, you can say, in a sense, it's self-study, because you can see how your thoughts come. But when you're sitting in meditation, you have the time to see, and you can really study those thoughts and be like, wow, that came from 2 years ago, that thought. So how is that thought affecting me now? And how does that thought make me react to certain things in certain situations? And what triggers that thought? And so you're actually getting to know yourself so much better. Come to the front of your mat and bring your feet hip distance apart, toes facing forward. Align yourself, shoulders over the hips, hips over the ankles, toes facing forward. Inhale deep. Take your hands behind the back, interlock the fingers. Continue to inhale as you lift through the chest, pulling the arms down, opening up through the heart. Exhale and breathe here. Inhale, come back up, release the hands. Again, palms facing forward. Exhale. Inhale, take both arms up. Right fingers go on the left wrist, you're opposite to me. Continue to inhale as you lengthen, pull up. And then as you exhale, move towards the river. I'll go towards the front of the room, opening up through the left body. Breathe. Inhale, come up. Continue to inhale, switch fingers, lengthen through the right side, and then take it to the left, opening up through the right side of the body. As we do so, we detoxify and purify our organs. You'll now take your right foot back and pivot it so the toes are facing the river. Both legs are straight. Heel in line with the arch of the foot. Both legs are straight, and you want about 2 feet or 3 feet in distance, depending on your height. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, arms up, shoulder level. Exhale, wheel it down. Both legs are straight. Breathe. Deep breaths. Remember, you don't have to go down all the way. What I'm looking for is shoulders aligned, shoulders open. Breathe. Feel that stretch through the right hamstring. Core is engaged. Deep breaths. Very good. Inhale, come up, strong legs. And then as you exhale, bring both feet together. And we'll now do Blooming Lotus Kriya. With your eyes closed, palms at the heart. Visualize that intention, manifesting. And as you breathe, take the arms up in prayer mudra. And then as it passes the crown of your head, you open up your arms like a blooming lotus. Eyes remain closed, visualizing your intention, manifesting. This is a beautiful Sufi Kriya. Bring it back to the heart. Continue. Allowing the palms to rise, visualizing your intention. And as you open up, like the lotus opens up in bloom, visualize your intention manifesting. The lotus flower represents transformation. Bring please your right leg into the inner thigh of the left. Extend out the left, toes pointed up. You want an L shape. Janu Shirshasana. Inhale, take the arms up. And as you hinge from the hips, letting your heart lead you, fold forward, go as far as your practice will allow. Don't push, place the hands on the floor. Keep the shoulders back, let the heart lead you. And breathe here. Breathe. With every inhale, you're lengthening. With every exhale, you're folding. Every breath has an intention. Intentional breathing to open up, to release, to allow prana to flow easily through the body. Enliven the body. Deep breaths. Feels good, huh? Extend out both legs. Bring now the left leg in, spine tall, shoulders back, reach through the crown of the head. Remember the toes is pointing up. Left hand goes underneath the left shoulder. Remember you have the choice of either hugging and twisting or taking the elbow to the opposite side. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, take it over, either hug, open up through the shoulders and twist. Look over that left shoulder and breathe. Remember, with every inhale, you can visualize the vertebrae expanding, creating space so that you can easily twist. Very good. Bring your feet together now in Baddha Konasana. If you need to raise from the floor, you can do so. And we'll do a little massaging of our feet. It's very good to release through the feet. Just massage the soles of the feet. In acupressure, Dr. Kumar can tell you that every location in the feet correlates to an organ. So as you massage, you are cleansing, you're releasing through those organs. Every location in the feet, every point correlates to an important part of your body. Good. Hug your knees, point your toes, lengthen through the spine, lift the toes off if you can, and balance. Exhale, place the soles of the feet to the floor. Inhale, lengthen. You can place your hands behind your back. Exhale, take the knees towards the right side and enjoy that release. Come back to lying down, please. Your head towards me. Bring the soles of your feet hip distance apart, knees up to the ceiling. And extend the arms so that the tips of your fingertips can touch your heels. And on the exhale, hug your knees tightly. With every inhale, Fill the body up. With every exhale, hug the knees tightly, experiencing the release through the lower back. And now take the soles of the feet, please, up to the ceiling. Let the knees hug the rib cage. Place the hands inside the soles of the feet and pull down into happy baby, expanding further through the pelvic floor. Breathe. If you feel charmed, you can rock from side to side, massaging your lower back. Place now the right ankle just below the knee on the left thigh. Extend your arms through that hole, interlock the fingers on the left calf and pull down into a modified pigeon pose, really stretching through the right hip. Breathe.
When anyone comes to Shanti Belize, what is the experience that you hope that each and every one of them walk away with?
Of learning to let go of the things that are affecting their physical body, causing pain or tension in their physical body, and for that to resonate also through the way they think and the way they see themselves. And one of the big things that I've been stressing these days is self-love. You know, once we acquire self-love, we will make decisions that are better for ourselves and for our community. And then it grows and it becomes it spreads. If in a moment where we have to choose with a negative behavior, but that will give us immediate gratification. If you can choose self-love, even if it takes a while, to know that that will be long-lasting, and you will have no regrets for your life once you choose self-love. The light, the divine, and the love that flows freely through me honors and deeply respects the light, the divine, and the love that flows freely and uniquely through all of you. Namaste. Satnam. Greet each other with Namaste. Namaste means I see light, I see love, I see good in you. Namaste. Namaste.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
$10 and get a chance to win a $10,000 homecation with Benny's. quality and savings.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected.
Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, pay $28.13 more and get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Welcome back and thanks for sticking with us on this Wednesday morning. We had 3 lovely conversations, Isani, and I want to say thank you to our guests that joined us this morning, but also a special thank you to you, our viewers, for sticking with us this morning. It is January the 3rd, the 3rd day in the start of the new year. If you are celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook at OYE Open Your Eyes BC, as well as Instagram at OYE Belize. Thanks so much for joining us, and please join us again tomorrow as you open your eyes
To start your morning right
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
and your hearts open.
Have a wonderful Wednesday.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.